Guerrilla crickets. Whoa. Guerrilla crickets. Whoa. Guerrilla. Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time is come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than rev counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pasco, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. Would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket.
Good afternoon. It's Mother's Day. For the mothers of the England team, it must be quite a depressing day, it must be said. Not much joy to be had there. I'm kind of glad I wasn't on yesterday. I think I would have upset Vernon with my language as the afternoon unfurled. It's day 4 in Grenada in the West Indies, and England really are pathetic. The reset button has failed. And they keep pressing it. It's not working. It must be broken underneath. And once again we find ourselves with a second batting collapse. As soon as the going has got tough, England have collapsed in a heap as us following these shower of whatever you want to call them for the last year have seen. It's once again they just put them under pressure and they just are useless. I'm joined by Messi Jez and Annie Chave, and we've been talking a lot about what's wrong before we came on air, but well, I guess I've got to ask your thoughts, but they seem quite obvious, but you tell me, Annie.
Well, as I said to you, it comes from the top. We have no belief in our red ball cricket. We're constantly told it's rubbish. It's undermined. Our county system's undermined, and what the players aren't going to think. Oh yeah, I've got to. I feel really confident in our system. I feel really confident in red ball cricket because it comes from the top. Like I said, Root isn't a confident captain. I don't think he. But I can't see. There's no obvious person putting their hand up and saying, "Yeah, I want to be captain" either. So
no. Well, that's the problem, isn't it? I mean, they couldn't really sack him after Australia because I guess there's only two viable options for me for captain, and that would be Broad, who they decided would he have made a difference on this tour. Guarantee you.
Yeah.
Probably would have done, him and Anderson. I mean, imagine you go to the West Indies, you haven't won a match in 15, and then you take out, admittedly, a batting lineup with Wood, if he'd stayed foot, would have been okay. I mean, a bowling lineup, and then Robinson, you'd think, what are two men going forward? Yeah,
but you knew that they were vulnerable. We said that before, didn't we?
And
absolutely vulnerable.
Wokes is good at home, but crap everywhere else. And Saqib Mahmood, hats off to him. I think he's looked good, and I think he's got a future. Overton's not a test player. And
he's banging it. Sorry, Bessie.
Can I just say?
No, you can't. You can't.
We're having a rant. I wasn't here yesterday.
Well, I did a multi-tweet rant on Twitter this morning, which a lot of people may have seen. There's just two bits of that I want to quote. One was, it's not about lack of talent or the impact of white ball cricket, and it's not mainly about when county cricket is played. Fundamentally, it's a reflection of a culture that excuses failure and creates no discipline to address the fundamentals. And the other thing I just want to do is quote Marcus Trescothick talking about yesterday to show how they do it. He said, a lot of what we've done in the first two test matches has been really good for the team, and the team has produced some great performances. So let's not judge it just on today that it's not working. Give it a chance. 2 good test matches in the first 2 games. He's on another planet, that man. That if that ever was a case of polishing a turd, that's got to be it.
It's called the ECB speak, Messi.
Yeah.
It's called let's make everything look far better than it actually is.
Well, that was,
and they're told to say these things.
Well, it was shown that by the fact that the wickets were flat. Great, they're great flat track bullies. Great. We all know them in club cricket. You don't survive at the highest level of cricket being a flat track bully. You got to have technique. I was chatting with Busfield here, and I was chatting with him in the green room, and I was saying, you look at Australia, the series against Australia, the series against India, and the one against India is really telling actually, because you've got KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma at the top of the innings when we played India last summer in England with a moving ball. Those two are really good at T20 cricket. They play in the IPL, and they're top batsmen in the IPL. They left shit. They were leaving stuff all the time. Yeah. England's batsmen just cannot leave. They bat on this bloody off-stump line where they're going across playing these stupid balls that they have no need in playing. It's almost like it's a trend, isn't it?
Yeah,
exactly. It's a massive trend. Everything's leg side. It's a joke. I didn't see yesterday. I was following it on Cricket Info, and once the first few wickets went down, I had to get taken to Bromley to go shopping, which was really irritating. But
well, that sounds fun.
I wouldn't have wanted to watch
the good
it.
news is that England put on 114 for the last 2 wickets in the first innings, so maybe they can do that again.
Well,
can I just say very quickly though, I'm delighted for the West Indies.
Yes, totally. And Josh Datilba's innings was absolutely fantastic.
Brilliant.
And I was talking with Vern before we came on air, and as I said, at no point England have always been pretty much ahead in this entire series. The West Indies have held it together and not lost. As Seals comes in, first ball down the leg side. Wokes has a flap at it, misses it. It goes through the keeper, and there's no run. I'll play some jingles shortly. As soon as England put under the pump, bang, fell apart.
That corner we turned last test match, it's kind of
it's just nonsense.
Gone back on ourselves, haven't we?
Well, exactly. I mean, it's just absolute crap. Right, let's play some jingles. This man's facing.
Works his fit, got out of bed, went and had himself a net, found this way that his heel had healed, passed the test, and he went to the team.
And this man is bowling.
Oh well, wherever you are, Seals Jason's gonna get ya, no matter how far. See the blow flow, watching it shed upon my head. Seals Jason wants you for dead.
I don't quite know really what's going on here. Has Jaden Seals injured himself?
He seems to be retracing steps, I'm not sure.
Something's gone wrong, yeah. He's lifting his leg. Maybe he jarred himself in the crease. Yeah, that'll be interesting tomorrow. Patreon-only content, Patreon-only people. We got Jack. Jack's joining us on the Bear and the Bishop in the pub. And he has a slightly different take on all this. I'm not sure he's a big fan of red ball cricket anyway. Doesn't see the point of it. Maybe I'm misquoting him. Seals down the leg side and there's no run. Big fan of IPL and all that stuff.
Yes.
And I'm sure, we'll be wrapping up this series. And me and Bish will be... Yeah, that'll be colourful. And to Fat Bastard 52, it's going to be kind of Mary Whitehouse. Back to normal. Next test, if I can control myself.
You can control yourself.
I know. I don't like controlling myself though.
No.
I like to let it flow freely.
Yeah.
But for the sake of Vernon and our West Indian audience, we're trying to keep it down a little. Seals in, and they're trying to leg front line. He's around the wicket. They've got a leg slip in. It's pulled down to long leg. When Carl Mail's got a fifer, and there Vernon again. He's like the seer. He's like a seer, man. He'd been banging on about having Carl Mayers in the side for 2 tests. What did he do? Comes in. He's got 7,
just
8
on that
wickets.
point of Mayers, I mean, he bowls. He's not dissimilar to someone like Darren Stevens. you know?
Well, this is it. There are some. You look at this England. The thing is, there's only about 2 or 3 top players in there, and you'd have to say Root and Stokes are top players. I mean, Stokes is a very, very good cricketer. And we've got Broad and Anderson sitting at home, and then two of the best bowlers in the world, even at their age. It's insane.
Yeah.
And that gives you the backbone of a side. I mean, Seals comes in, 4th ball of the over. It's down Leach's leg side. It's through to the keeper, and there's no run.
I hope Andrew Strauss is feeling very silly now. That's what I
hope so too. I mean, you look at the end of the great West Indian sides when Kirtley. Basically in Test cricket you've got to take 20 wickets to win. That's the name of the game, And the back end when Lara sort of retired and the Shiv was still going, but there was a kind of shaky top 6. But you still had Kirtley and Courtney, and they get them out of trouble all the time.
Absolutely.
Because they're two of the greatest bowlers of all time, right? And so you stick them in the side until they say, I don't want to go anymore.
Yeah, not upset them.
No, exactly. Left alone outside the off stump, there's no one. Broad's only 35. He keeps himself fit. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
So what worries me is this, that the key in life to learning is actually owning my own mistakes. Once I've done that, I can start moving forward.
ECB don't do that, Messi.
No.
That's exactly right. That's what worries me.
But
They'll
a lot of
just keep
boards
trying
don't
to
do
the
that.
same shit.
A lot of boards don't do that. You're lucky you get ahead. I mean, look at Australia, got the best bowling attack on wickets, you'd say, around the world. They'll keep themselves going purely because those boys will get them out of trouble all the time. And they do happen to have Marnus Labuschagne and Steve Smith, as that's short and left alone outside the off stump. There's no run. Although Labuschagne has only played 20 odd tests, so someone might find a weakness in him. I think
he didn't have a great
Ashes after at the beginning, did he? I mean, he was lucky.
He didn't have great against Pakistan, did he, Labuschagne?
No, and he was lucky in the Ashes. He got dropped so many bloody times by England in the slips. Got him his first ton, for crying out. He was dropped 3 times before he got that first ton in the first test.
Okay, we've got
a few
people.
Yeah, it must be. I can see all the people piling in on YouTube. So
Jay says, afternoon all. Love to the mothers out there. Let's make it a good time, if not a long time. Leah says, hello everyone. Welcome to reading the last rites for England's tour of the Caribbean. Wrong greetings from Poor. Hope everyone is well. We're out there, Hendo. Hopefully, Hendo will be on for a feisty rant at some stage in the first hour of players. The test may be completed within that time. Jay says, Mint Annie's on. I can genuinely say happy Mothering Sunday to someone who isn't my mum.
Hey, thank you. I so believe in it. It's completely my life.
What, Mother's Day?
Yeah. Yes.
My wife wants really.
And sarcasm is the other thing you believe in, isn't it, Danny?
Yeah.
Mayers is in. The destroyer of England is into bowl to Wokes. We haven't had Leach's jingle, have we?
No.
And we haven't had Carl Mayers, who's bowling quite now. So he sounds like this.
When the wicket falls and we needed a man, I'm gonna look to the pavilion for you. And I would pick 500 kales and I would pick 500 more. So you'll be the man to score those hundreds. Kyle, you can't fail for sure. La-da-da-da.
Well, that's a long half volley. It kind of got what it deserved. It was driven sweetly by Wokes out to the cover boundary. It just about gets hauled in inside the ropes, and there's no run. I do hope that the West Indian crowd have got in early this morning. I wonder what Caribbean time is like. I imagine it's quite relaxed. But there's not much time to relax this morning, peeps, because this ain't going to last very long. I wouldn't have thought.
You can't say that.
I know you can't say that. I'll be saying a completely different thing, and my tone will be exultant if somehow they get a 150-run lead and the West Indies collapse in a heat this afternoon. And I'm sure Vernon will be saying pretty much what we're saying right now if that happened. But
and suddenly England cricket will be amazing.
No, it won't. It's not. It'll be an extraordinary turn of luck. Mayers is coming around the wicket to Leach, who is a very pleasant looking batsman. As he gets right behind that, plays it down the track. There's no wrong. We should play his jingle.
Coming up, here's a face that I know. It's Jack Leach. Now coming up is Jack Leach. Oh, Jack Leach.
That's punched out nicely off the back foot by Leach. Out towards the cover boundary, and he'll get himself 2 runs. England's lead is 14. And we've got 2 wickets left. 16. God, they're slow. It's 16. Heady heights.
We've got this in the bag.
Yeah, Mashall's very holy bag. Mashall's bag has had its holes stitched up, I think, actually.
Yes, good.
I've got a quiz question for you. At this moment, there's only one England batsman who's averaging 50 or more on this tour. Do you know who it is?
Defender back down the track, there's no run. Well, it's not Root, because he was... Well, was it Root? Was he not out in one innings? Root?
Can't be Root, it's too obvious.
Must be Jack Leach, then.
It is Jack Leach.
It's Jack Leach!
Because he got 41 not out, didn't
50, yeah. Mahmood is averaging 49, and then comes Joe Root on 48.16.
Of course, he wasn't out, was he?
Yeah, my new campaign is to make Leach the English Nathan Lyon.
I think he's the England opener myself.
Well, he did all right as an opener. He's got an average of 92 opening in batting for England.
Brian Barish wants to get in there.
I've let him in. He's in.
Oh,
that was a while ago. That's full, and straight bat from Jack Leach drives it to a deep set city mid off. And off Hayden. I don't even think he's an off Hayden. It's a deep set city mid off. And some chat going on to Leachy from, I think it's Josh. And yeah, Jono's video when Josh got his tongue.
I know.
You see all the bats he was surrounded by. He was sitting there with just. For a while, it took me. I thought he was just sitting in some posh garden in a pub or something because there was always wood around him. And then I focused on the wood and it was just bats. Yeah, I don't know how much that cost him. Crikey. Test match ton as a sponsor. Oof.
Yeah. No wonder he was crying.
Was that the end of the over?
It was the end of the over.
Leah says Root is neither a confident or competent captain, and there's also a Mythbusters episode that proves you can actually polish a turd. Well, Truscothi's fucking going to win it.
I imagine you have to deep freeze it.
Excuse me, sorry.
There is nothing that Truscothic does that is wrong.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's ECB speak.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm learning.
So that's pulled by Wokes down to long leg, and it is no run. I mean, the thing is, as a watcher of sport, if you're pragmatic, you go, there are days like that, yeah. But the thing is, with England, those days are all the time. So they're not one-offs, and if they're not one-offs, there's something wrong.
I just
right?
wish somebody would come on and say, look, we are really not playing well at all.
Yeah.
And
oh, now that's gone up in the air. Got on top of that reasonably well by Leach. Bottom hand came with the bat short. He's not scared of the short ball, and so played aerially, but it doesn't cut
I don't want him injured before the
Carrington.
county season starts. Then.
I don't think he'll get injured. He's good enough. Well, I mean, where did he bat when he played before he came in? I mean, he looks like a proper batsman.
Yeah. He did open for his club when he was youngster.
Oh, okay, there you go. See, a lot of these. It's the same with Woody. Until about 16, 17 was an opener. You know, weird, isn't it? And then they all come fast bowlers. Broad was an opening batsman when he was a kid, turned into a fast bowler. Short by Seals, ducked underneath by Leach, through to the keeper, and there is no run. How old is Leach?
28-ish.
He's only 28, so he can be turned into a Nathan Lyon of England.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if he's got enough time. That's the thing.
He's 30 and 2/3.
Oh,
Is he?
Okay.
God,
Yeah.
I thought he was younger than that. I see.
He could still go. He can go to about 30.
Still youngster.
You give him a
Just
couple
like
of years to learn the test
policeman.
game.
And he's just like the police.
My life still is living in before lockdown. I'm still at those ages and dates.
I wish I was. Short, and it's through to Josh De Silva, and there's no run. I mean, I watched the first 2 hours yesterday, just praying we got a wicket. And was it Josh De Silva was pinged and given not out? We didn't have a review, and it was an overturn on a review. I mean, but then you're going back. Who is the England captain? Who is the England captain if it's not Root?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a big problem, right?
Yeah, I mean, and this is what the whole Butler thing was, wasn't it? Because he was a vice captain and he was a little bit being groomed to be a captain. So, you know, there is that gap there, because you're not going to have Bairstow as a captain.
No. That's why I say Broad. Oh, now. Does that hit the... No, must have been inside edge onto pad. Bounced up and then he carried to mid-off. Or did it go back into the ground? I think it carried on in the air. I think it went up, bounced off a very bouncy pad, almost all the way to a shortish mid-off, I'd say. No, it wasn't. He brought the face of the bat down. That's why it went airy.
Yeah.
Oh dear. If I was going to bet on it, I'd bet on Stokes being the next England captain.
Yeah, but he's feisty and Bairstow are feisty.
But at least
I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but
well, Stokes is a regular in the
interesting.
side. If Stokes is fit, he's a regular in the side, though. That's the thing.
yeah.
I don't think Bairstow, he's been in and out the side. Seals is in, but he said he doesn't want to do it, doesn't he? Defended out to cover and there's no run. I mean, he's flat.
I don't think he's mentally
No.
ready to captain, though. He's still got issues, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I don't think, if he doesn't want to captain,
Don't make him.
don't make him.
Okay. Jay says, I think Jack has studied poise of not caring about anything. Also, the bear might be one of the few gorillas who gets the Big Vern reference.
Yes.
Jeff is wondering about my transgression. He said, how does Vernon enforce detentions for repeat offenders?
Well, that is a bit tricky for Vernon, I have to say. But the big, when I was on the other day, I'm sorry, Vernon, I know he's listening. I kept calling him Vern, and in my head, all I could think, Big Vern, Viz, and it just.
Oh, Viz.
Yes, Big Vern.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Of course, Vernon is nothing like Big Vern because Big Vern's a paranoid gangster type. He shoots everybody, but
Well, we don't know enough about Vernon, do we?
Ravi says, if we send in enough tweets, will reading them last longer than the rest of the England innings? Please don't, Ravi. I was in enough trouble last time after this.
Look, we've got a lead of 17 now, Ravi.
Yeah, it's a winning lead. But that's a beautiful stroke by Wokes as he drives it out through extra cover. Is it going to make it? I think that made it.
Yeah.
It's chased down by Blackwood.
I think it made it.
I think it made it. He doesn't know. I think it did. I think his hand was in contact with the ball and the sponge. Yeah, he's there. He's crashed into the sponge and his hand is on the ball. That is going to be the first of these. And wow, England have reached the heady heights of a 21-run lead.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
I mean, it's funny how the wicket was pretty flat yesterday, but as I watched the first 2 hours, just thinking we're going to get a wicket, and then Seals was given non out, wasn't he? And he would have been out too. And the run and the lead would have been 45. And I fancy England.
Well, you see, this is where folks isn't used to the referral system, really. Yeah. and I think there were some decisions made that wouldn't have been made otherwise.
Yeah. Well,
Not trying to get it up, folks, because he's done. You know.
what I was going to
alright.
say, whose fault's that? That's defended back down the track. There's no run. He probably should have been wicket keeper. I mean, he's not explosive like Butler, but he'll get you 30 runs. And Butler's been struggling to do that. So
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
what difference
I
does it
mean,
make whether it's done in
I'm not
7
doing the
overs or
Butler,
20
Butler
overs?
folks
Yeah.
argument, because God, that one goes round and round and round, doesn't it? But
just? But I mean,
Certainly
he's
does.
acquitted himself well. I mean, he's looked a class above, I have to say.
yeah,
He
yeah,
still did drop a catch, which is in a negative comment. That's through to Josh De Silva, and there's no run, but I think you always will. Wasn't the easiest one, it kind of diverted late, but still, you know, the naysayers will go, well, look, he still dropped a catch. But yeah, but look, he looks organised.
yeah.
He looks better than Butler, and he's not let himself down with the bat, except for he ran himself out yesterday like a twat, but you know.
So he has let himself down with the bat, is what you're
but
saying.
I'll forgive him for that because he looks like a much better keeper. That's defended by Wokes and goes out to the covers, and there's no run. England are 114 for 8 if you're joining us on this Mother's Day, and it's just
It's
not
actually Mothering Sunday, isn't it?
Mothering
That's what it
Sunday.
should be called.
Yeah.
Brian wants to know if we've got, and he's back in home in the English groom after a sunny week in Paris. He wants to know if we've got a bingo card for ECB speak or cliche
Wow.
for the post-match conference.
Should make it a drinking game,
Yeah,
shouldn't
God,
we?
we'll all be absolutely smashed. As that one is defended up to mid-off, and there's no run.
There's no point having interviews with players afterwards because you just know
Nah,
that they're going to have to say those
That's
key
the
words.
It's the same with football, isn't
Same
it?
old
Though?
stuff.
Oh, just a nightmare.
One match at a time. Brian Barish has got the purest intent in terms of England continuing. He says, I want them to stretch this out so I can do a stint on air with Annie.
Ah,
The last ball of that over is defended out to mid-off, and there's no run. I'm going to run to the fridge and get another beer.
yeah. Okay. Got any more tweets?
Yeah, Leah says Stokes doesn't want the captaincy and Pesto's an imbecile. They'll make Wokes captain, won't they? No, they won't.
No.
Stokes, O'Neill Harris says Stokes' batting has deteriorated. If he gets the captaincy, it will probably fall off the cliff. Yeah, you never quite know what you're going to get with Stokes, do you?
Yeah, and he's a bit of a piece of paper. He's strapped up so much, isn't he? And I just not able to bowl particularly, and you know we've over bowled him.
Jay says, I don't know if Jono is on today, but I sent my mum his video and she said, and I quote, "This is the most adorable thing I've ever seen." I just thought it was lovely watching him burst into tears after Josh got a century. That's so sweet.
No. I mean, I felt delighted for him, so not surprised Jono was a bit emotional.
Right, here comes Alzari Joseph, who's into the attack. First ball short, and Leachy sways out of the way, and it goes through the keeper. There's no run. It's this man.
Alzari Joseph. Alzari Joseph. Alzari Joseph.
Yeah, I see that England women's got into the semi-final after a poor start.
Yeah, they did. They beat Bangladesh.
As Joseph is
so-
in, and Leach is right across his stumps. Defends that beautifully back to the bowl, and there's no run. I'm falling in love with Jack Leach.
Yeah, well, we all do.
Yeah, you don't do things by half measure. There was a desperately exciting game today between South Africa and India, where South Africa won on the last ball. After the second last ball was a no ball. It was
Oh my word!
And it was caught, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear! Now that's
And,
drama. I like that. That's good drama.
Yeah, but it means West Indies have gone through,
Ah,
which
yes.
is great.
It's been a fantastic World Cup. It really has.
it's just on the
Yeah,
wrong
well, I'm glad
times.
you've been able to watch it.
Yeah. Well, that's left alone through to the keeper. Oh, yeah, I presume it's on Sky, or is it BT? It's BT, isn't it?
I think it's Sky or BT or on one of them, but I mean it's on so late. I go to sleep watching it.
Yeah, occasionally I scoop through the channels and I see the highlights. So I watch the highlights, and I've caught the beginning of a couple of games because I've been sitting around and going, what's on, and then just look onto the sports and stuff.
I like watching games live though.
Yeah, same here. Defender back down the track and there's no run.
Madan Mohan Sharma says, hello Guerrilla Cricket. England having losing series after losing series. Apart from Root, Bairstow and Stokes, other batters are lacking quality. Root appears to be a clueless captain. I think England cricket needs a serious overhauling. I think we'd all agree with that.
I think we'd all agree with that. It's just, who do we have as England captain? The more and more,
so much more.
the more I lean into this, the more I just think if Stokes is refusing, you've got to give it to Broad. He's the only other person that you can give it to at the time being.
I don't changing
left
captains
alone
isn't
through
gonna
to the
make
keeper.
much
There's no
difference.
run. So
The reviews will be a nightmare though, won't
well,
they?
the reviews will be a nightmare. I'll have to have a system in place for that. But
you know,
he's a passionate cricketer as well, you know.
Yes.
The captains is low on the list of the things they need to change, and it's all a long
true.
job. It's turning around a huge tanker in a long space of time. It's not an easy fix.
No. I think you've got to decide. I think you've almost got to make. This is a bit harsh. This is the problem with the
I think we keep
monetary
doing
system.
patchwork jobs and we're just
Yeah,
not
we do.
doing it properly. Yeah.
Trying to work it in the leg side. Leach hit him on. He's got a rather big chest pad on, but I don't mind that. He defends it.
And we keep appointing the same bloody type of people to do
jobs
the
for
jobs.
the boys, isn't it?
Yeah.
It always is. It's big business, but it's big business writ large. And the thing is, football kind of gets away with it because there's so much money sloshed around in it anyway that no one really
Yeah,
cares
but that's going to
about
happen to cricket, and then it's just going to be.
Yes, but the problem is there's less people and there's less money in cricket, so people get more vexed about it.
Well,
Because the people who actually watch it, who invest their time in it, they're the ones who care about what's going on, and although they're a smaller group probably, they make themselves more vocal within it. But then I guess they ignore us anyway, that's the thing.
They do ignore us, yeah. Any tweets? Do people agree
Yes.
with us, Messi?
Yes, I think so. Anthony Abdul says, loving the gallows humour. You wouldn't get that on TMS. Rebel Scum says, this is the mother of all flock-ups by England.
It is indeed. Left alone outside the off stump by Wokes through to the keeper, and ain't no run.
Dave Wood says, do we need a hashtag things we expect to hear from the ECP? Farong says, to put things in perspective, Holder has the figures of none for 6 from 8 overs. Can be a reasonable bowler at times, but the English batting has definitely flattered him.
Yeah.
He is a good bowler.
He is a good bowler.
He's not the quickest, but he's wily.
Yeah, but he's got
and
such
he's got
height on him,
as
hasn't
well.
he?
Yeah, exactly. Defended up to mid-on, there's no run. And you wonder, if they know the pitch is dead, how much effort they actually put in as well. You know, you might just take your pace back a bit just to get some more accuracy, because you're not going to get anything out of the pitch.
But things like, I don't understand why Overton's continually bowling short. He doesn't do that in county cricket. What was all, we were talking about that with Vernon yesterday or the day before. I'm all lost.
Defended out to one of 2 covers, quite short on the offside. There's a sort of shortish extra cover and a square cover. And there's a point as well, I think, and a slip. Yeah, there is. So 2 slips, 3 slips into 2, I'd say. And there's a backward point. There's a mid-off. I presume there's a mid-wicket. Someone down at long leg. There's always someone down at long leg. And
Ravi Nair is trying to educate us as ever. Oh, sorry.
Maz is in. Has driven up to mid-off. No run. Go on.
He says, you know that Mothering Sunday was a religious day during which people returned to their mother church, which they may have settled away from for services. The USians in World War II brought the Mother's Day idea to the UK, and we adopted Mothering Sunday as the day. There you go.
Well, there you go. We adopt everything bloody American, don't we?
Yeah.
Like Halloween.
It's all to do with trying to buy cards and flowers.
Well, exactly. It's
Yeah.
bloody rampant commercialism,
Yep.
marketisation. I hate it. Through the keeping us no one. I don't remember there being a Father's Day when I was a kid, and now it's a thing.
We've adopted Brian Barish too, he says.
Yeah, but Brian Barish is nice.
There you go, Brian. That's a nice compliment for you.
It's made his day. Farong's got an idea. He said we'd just do a lucky dip draw from a hat before each test to decide who the captain will be.
Well, yeah. I mean, someone who did say, as Mayers is in, and That's a innocuous ball outside off stump, left alone by Wokes, and there's no run. The captaincy is probably least of the options. I mean, captaincy has kind of made my committee anyway. Especially when you've got experienced bowlers of the likes of Broad and Anderson, they kind of know what they want if they're told to come on.
I don't think they have a chance not to get rid of Root as captain. I think.
Well, that's it. I think he's stuck with the job. They may want to get rid of him, and he may not. He might be fed up with it and go, "I don't want to be captain."
God.
But everyone's
Wouldn't
going,
you be?
"Yeah, well, exactly." And then they go, "Well, who else we got, Joe? You're going to have to stay with the job. We'll give you another 200 grand a year." And go, "All right."
Oh, important question, Bet. Are we doing any GPL at all today?
No, we're not doing GPL.
Okay.
I figured that if England got rolled for 10, then everyone would know what the score was, and we'd be giving the money away. So I decided that the better part of valour was probably not to do it at all.
Oh, I don't know.
So, so people need to go to Patreon instead.
Well, normally, you see, I normally pull it when there's 8 wickets down. Otherwise, it becomes too easy. And as we started the day on 8 wickets down.
Yeah, but England are winning. Are winning at the moment.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to lose by an innings.
That's a very, very broad definition of winning. Brian Barry says, leave it to the Aussie to let the F word slip. I love us. And Leah says, Leach is 75% protective equipment by weight, isn't he?
He's what?
75% protective equipment by weight.
If it makes him feel comfortable and he can get in line, I don't care.
Jeff Perkins says, I'm surprised Bear isn't offering his services as interim England captain.
No.
A bit like when Bobby Simpson made his return.
Well, I tell you what, watching here, I can tell you when the bowling changes should be made. Maybe we can just phone it in.
Well, that's it.
I mean,
think
captaincy is quite obvious to a lot of degrees. I mean, that's short and left alone by Leach through to the keeper, and there's no run. I mean, when you make a bowling change, if you've got 4 bowlers, you kind of know what order you're going to bowl them in, right? And you kind of know what field you're going to set for them. It's only when it goes wrong that you have to think about it, really.
I think you should use the technology, have an off-field captain in radio contact with every player, encouraging them, telling them off.
Oh my God, no! God no! That sounds absolutely horrific. No way. But I do think you could have a
that way Mike Brearley could be captain again.
Oh
no. but captaincy isn't all about just putting him on the bowlers and things. You've got to be encouraging your players more.
Through to the keeper and there's no one. That's why I think, again, I keep going back, that's why I think Broad would be quite good. He really cares.
Yeah, he
George
does.
Dobell was scathing about that in his article about the way England performed yesterday.
Well, yeah, it's not surprising. We've seen it too many times. You know, airy-fairy shots. I mean, I like Zach Crawley, and he looks great when he's flowing, but he hardly ever flows, man. It's like 1 in 15.
And how many openers have we had like that?
Well,
I mean,
loads. I mean, you know, I kind of long for Dom Sibley again.
I knew that would happen.
Oh my God!
That's flicked off the hip by Leach down a long leg, and there's a single. You know, it's kind of like. The only problem was you get chipping it to bloody mid-wicket, or the obvious man at square for the one that's into his pads because all he could do is turn it off his. But he could leave a ball. I actually think Leeds has, come on a bit in this Test series.
Is it worth looking at county captains and seeing who are good at being captain and getting one of them in?
Yeah, I don't see why not. We're going to Darren Stevens now.
Well, I was thinking Tom Abel, funnily enough.
Well, is he one of these opening bats, isn't he? He's an opening bat.
He's number 3 usually, but
Gary kept banging on about him.
Over, aren't we?
Yeah, we are due a change at the end of this over. Fred is going to take over from me, and
someone's going to take over from me.
Yeah, and Nestlers is going to take over. Oh, has that gone up in the air? It's been reviewed immediately by Wokes.
It's given out. Yeah.
It was given out on the field. It's come off. Well, it's just popped up to short leg. I was looking at the rotor, so I'll have to wait for the replay to tell you actually what happened. Come on, show me a replay. Stop showing me Wokes and Leach standing in the middle of the pitch.
They'll show you a replay in a second.
Here we go. It's into the hit. Oh, you know what? I don't think he did touch it. It's into the thigh pad of Wokes. He's trying to turn it around the corner. Now, if it did get something, it's an under edge, but it certainly came off the thigh pad, went up between his arms, might have touched one of the extra. No, I don't think it did. The extra long sort of wrist.
I think he's
sweatband
fairly
bit of the glove.
confident he didn't hit
I think
it.
he's fairly confident. He reviewed it straight away. Well, you would review it straight away anyway because you're 8 down. And we're going to have a look here. So the ball comes into the hip. It's passing under the bat now. There's nothing on the bat. It hits the thigh pad. Balloons up. Now the question is, did it hit anything on its way up?
Only an arm if it did.
Well, it did, yeah, but it could only be the sort of sweatband bit of the glove that it did hit. It didn't hit either arm. I think it then came up and probably maybe came off his shoulder. It's not going to be out. It was given out. The umpire obviously wants to go home, and there was nothing
How
on
many
it.
reviews have been reversed? Something like 18, 19.
Well, no, I don't mind that. I'd rather they were more positive. Vernon will be joining us as well. He is going to be expertly summarising salami slicing England with a bit of luck and telling you I told you so. As that's into the hip of Wokes, who turns it around the corner down to long leg, and there's no run. Currently you're on visual, Vernon. You can just turn your camera off and come back on at the end of the over. And he's disappeared there. That's no good. Come back, Vernon. Come back. All is forgiven. And he's taken early leave as you appeared.
Oh, well, there you go. We've got the bonus of Vernon after all. Okay.
Give us some social. No, actually don't. There's one ball left and we're going to hand over to Fred anyway.
Well, I've teed Nestles up for the social anyhow, so we'll leave it there.
Last ball of the over. Azari Joseph
be back, actually.
in down the leg side of Leach, tries to clip it, goes through to Josh De Silva. End of the over, no run. I shall hand over to Fred, Vernon and Nestlers. And I will see you in a while.
Thank you, Bear. Thank you, Annie. Thank you, Messi Jez. And welcome to Messi and welcome to Vernon. I don't think I've had the pleasure of being on with Vernon before, so hello to you.
Hello to you, and let me just say a splendid Mothering Sunday to all the mothers in England, from us here in Antigua and Barbuda and the wider part of the Caribbean.
And I'm sure everyone agrees with that. As 116 for 8, some people thought this game was going to be over by the time of the second stint, but no. The match is unchanged in that England still have 2 wickets remaining. They are leading by 23, which is not very many. What, gentlemen, I'm going to ask Vernon first, what do you think is the absolute minimum lead that England could get that they would feel is even vaguely defendable? Well, break-offers would get the first ball of Mayer's new over, which is pushed into the offside by Wokes, fielded at point. What do you think is the smallest number England would think they'd have a hope of defending in the 4th innings?
Well, what I can say to you is that it doesn't matter how many runs England get, they're going to lose this test match because we still have a day to go on Monday. So
that's true, but that wasn't quite the question. If West Indies were to have a nightmare with the bat in the second innings, what is the minimum score do you think it would be feasible to get as Mayers comes in to bowl full ball, which Wokes drives, can't beat mid-on, so there is no run.
Well, maybe England would need a 90-run partnership in terms of what happened in the first innings, and so maybe there would be Jack Leach is showing his stubbornness in his batting. I just thought that the West Indies kind of came out to the ploy this morning and really should have been coming around the wicket to Wokes, just come and bowl wicket to wicket and cut these short balls out.
As Mayer's bowls, very full, and Wokes blocks back to him. So you think if England did manage to get 100 ahead, they would think they had maybe a 1 in 10 chance of possibly winning?
Well, I'm not worried about the winning. I'm just saying that at least they'll make a game out of it. The issue is that once the ball is new here on this track at the National Cricket Stadium in Grenada, you tend to get something happening.
The next ball, Wokes tries to leave, but he's such a good batsman that he manages to middle the ball as he tries to leave it. It goes on the ground to second slip. Some of us try and hit the ball and miss, and other good players try and miss the ball and they hit it. Messi, Nestlers, I believe you'll be doing social media messages, so we shall come to you in a moment. Yeah, he tried to withdraw the bat and actually got the middle of the bat on it. as Mayers in again, a little wider of the crease, full ball on off stump, and an immaculate forward defensive shot from Wokes. There's one ball left of the over. This is the 61st of the innings. England 116 for 8, leading by only 23 with 2 wickets in hand. As Mayers, who's done much of the damage, or almost all of the damage, for the West Indies in this innings. And this is his first test of the series, which is something for the West Indies selectors to ponder on as he comes in and bowls again. Wokes defends the last ball of the 61st over, 116 for 8. And Nestlers, what are people saying?
Well, I'll start as usual with Jay, who says that he's been enjoying the Women's World Cup and listening to Norcross. He's never read out any of my tweets, though. Old habits die hard.
There's something to be said for that.
Yeah. Steve Chipcott tells us, bloody hell, nearly half an hour in and no wicket. Agree with everything you're saying about the England debacle. There's a lot of debacle talk going on around the England cricket setup and the team, and I'm sure it will continue. I wonder if Root will step down today. What do you think, boys?
I think he's already stepped down.
You think he's already said, I've had enough?
Yeah, he's just maybe waiting for the day's play, either today or tomorrow, to make it official.
New over.
Neil Harris points out,
Sorry.
says, how does changing the captaincy solve the batting issue? It doesn't.
First ball of Joseph's new over is a shorter ball, and Leach sways out of the way.
Interestingly, the ECB have appointed Dave Brailsford into some position, which will be it's an unusual choice. He's a cycling. He was Team GB's sort of cycling coach, and then he went on to Sky, the Team Sky team, which won the Tour de France, and with Geraint Thomas and all those guys, Bradley Wiggins. So he might bring a different perspective to things. I don't know.
There's Leach. Faces up to Joseph again, and he's tucked this off his hip into the ground and then into the hands of the short leg fielder, who's not that short actually. He's probably about 10 yards away. It's a dot ball,
and some people won't like to hear this, but he's very much a data man.
Wasn't he the chap who did things like changing their pillows and was
all sorts?
Yeah.
Massive change in diet and training methods, and it succeeded.
Is in again, and this is on leg stump and defended by Leach. We've got a bit of an odd field because we've got on the leg side a short leg and a leg slip, and on the offside a short point and a wide slip. So it's sort of an umbrella field with a lot of holes. So it wouldn't protect you much from the rain, this particular umbrella. But Leach so far has shown an aptitude for for blocking, really. He's faced 45 deliveries so far in this innings, and Joseph's in again, round the wicket, full ball. I think it actually got him on the full toss, but he did get enough behind it. It was zeroing in towards his stump, but well watched. He is staying low, Leach, from a technical point of view, on a wicket that's where the bounce has been variable at best. He's getting down very low. He's looking to get down low, which would suggest that he's vulnerable to the short ball, but he's managed to avoid that pretty well so far. Still 23 lead, 116 for 8. There's Leach, who's got a lot of armour on, faces up to Joseph again. This is on middle and leg stump, and it's defended quite comfortably. Vernon, what do you make of Leach's batting technique? I mean, he's obviously not a frontline batsman by any stretch of the imagination, but he plays within his limitations, and he has a defensive technique, no doubt about it.
His first class average is nothing to shout about. 13.24, 111 matches, 1,526 runs. What I liked about him is his trigger movement. He knows where his stumps is, and he gets back on a cross. He gets very deep in his crease. That Yorker that Joseph bowled, you realize that he kept his eye on the ball.
This is a short ball to finish the over from Joseph, and again Leach plays it well by swaying out of the way. He keeps his bat and his hands low and well out of the way. And another over has been successfully negotiated. The 60-second complete, 116 for 8. Sorry to break off. You got anything more to say on Leach? Because I think he knows his limitations, but he plays within them.
Well, the thing about it, I was listening to the little talk about, appointments of folks to the England and Wales Cricket Board, XYZ. I begin to also question the backroom staff of most of these world-class teams that are going around now, where they have like close to about 20 folks who are in the back room, and the results that you're getting, you have to start. There has to be an evaluation process. You have batting coach, wicket keeping coach, fast bowling coach, spin bowling coach, all these folks in the back room, and you're losing. You're still getting almost the same results. And I think what is actually happening, we're missing out the aspect of the technical aspects of the players. That is not been improving. We're concentrating so much on fitness and on everything else except developing the players to play cricket. We have to teach the players how to play cricket.
Well, they shouldn't really be being taught when they get to the test level. They should they should have some idea of their game before they get there. We're going to change in bowling. Roach is coming into the attack. The Bear has left the jingle chair for the moment, so we won't be jingling him up. But Kemar Roach, who has bowled 8 overs, hasn't taken a wicket but only conceded 8 runs, and he'll be bowling to Chris Wokes, who is right-handed, so Roach will be bowling over the wicket to him, right arm over the wicket, bowls down the leg side, and this is and it's caught by leg gully. He's played a genuine shot to try and flick it down to long leg, and is that Jason Holder?
Yes, it is.
Who got down well, and he's taken a good catch, and well, that's a bit of an odd way for Wokes to go, but go he has. That's the 9th wicket fallen for England at 116. It was on his hip, and he flicked it round the corner. It was a genuine shot, but a very, very good catch, because that ball was travelling quickly. Holder had to get down about, probably just below waist height, and quickly to his right-hand side. Did he get one? I think he only took it in one hand.
One-handed,
so
wasn't it?
That's a really good catch. Wokes strides off the field, looking disappointed, as well he might. He's not had a good tour either with bat or ball, and England only 23 wickets ahead. 23 runs ahead and 9 wickets down.
It's so important when you hear in the scorecard, England are 23 for 9, and as one of the Calypsonians from Trinidad and Tobago would say, born in Grenada, I'm sure you guys would know him, Slinger Francisco, he would say, London Bridges is falling down.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's many players from London in this England team, but and I have to admit it's not a name I've heard of. Well, Mahmood has come to the crease, and he has a somewhat unlikely test average of 49. Having been out once in test cricket for 49 runs.
Did he have to buy a jug?
In club cricket you'd have bought a jug there for jug avoidance. Avoidance jug, yes. Yeah. Vernon, you may not be aware of what goes on in club cricket, but if you get a sort of milestone, if you do particularly well, you tend to have to buy a round of drinks afterwards for your teammates.
I did play some cricket in England, and also
right. But
so I know what you're talking about.
And if you fail to get a milestone, you're considered to have deliberately avoided having to pay for the drink. So you have to buy a jug for avoiding the jug avoidance jug. I don't think Mahmood.
I bought a couple playing for the Caribbean Cricket Club in the Leeds area, so I know what you're talking about.
Right, I'm sure there was some heavy drinking going on after games in the Yorkshire Club cricket. Well, Mahmood is going to face up to Roach now, and he turns this one into the leg side. There was some thought that it may have been pretty close to the short leg fielder, who is Nkrumah Bonner, but not close enough. He fended it down. No, he played it pretty well, actually. And a good stop from Bonner diving to his right prevents a run.
Lurking Lima, on my point about David Brailsford, says, I'm not sure industrial quantities of performance-enhancing drugs gives the same benefit to cricket as it does to cycling.
Are we going to put allegedly in there?
Yeah.
As Roach bowls again, then fended into the offside, past the gully fielder by Mahmood. He's going to get a single. He's off the mark. And that will bring the left-handed Leach onto strike. So how long did you, Vernon, did you play in England? How long did you spend in England playing cricket?
Each time 6 months. First, I first came over to England to have my coaching course done at the Yorkshire Cricket School with Ralph Middlebrook. And while there, I ended up also playing some cricket, some club cricket, also Caribbean Cricket Club. Caribbean Cricket Club. As you know, I have a lot of West Indians there.
Yeah.
So that was the utmost.
What era would this have been? Around about what years?
1985, 86.
Oh, right. Yorkshire weren't a strong county team at the time, although they did have a few good players.
Including Sir Richie Richardson, who played for Yorkshire with his white floppy hat.
Yes. It was very easy to spot on the field, was Sir Richie. Right, there's some movement of the field now, as Roach is going to come around the wicket to the left hand, and we've got two slips, a sort of a second slip and a third and a half slip, and we've got a shortish mid-wicket rather than a short leg, or very forward short leg.
I got to pick you guys' brains. Is this a good cricket wicket? Because we were complaining about the two tracks before.
I'll tell you in a minute. As Roach comes into bowl, this is turned to square leg by Leach. There is no run. It depends who you ask. If you ask a batsman or if you ask bowlers, and the bowlers will say this is a perfectly good cricket wicket. The batsmen will be shaking their heads and going, "No, you know,
yeah,
they'll find something wrong with it."
But Joshua De Silva got 100. So,
so
it will show that the technique of the batsman on both sides, from 1 to 5, were exposed.
And as Roach comes into bowl again, and Leach tries to play an attacking shot, and it bounced just before the backward point fielder, and the mid-wicket fielder jumped in the air as if to say, "That's catch it," but it bounced before him. Leach finds himself having to play some shots now because whilst Wokes was in, I think he thought, well, if I stay here, then maybe Wokes can get a few. But he played that uppishly into the offside, and it bounced just a couple of feet before the diving somebody at the point.
Azari
Joseph, thank you very much. And Seals was very excited about it mid-wicket, but it didn't carry. And Roach was a little bit annoyed, as this is a full ball on leg stump, and Leach plays it back to the bowler. The end of the over, 117 for 9. Nestlers, what are people saying?
Oh, Jay Grover's saying, "Hooray, Fred! Hooray, Big Vern! Hooray, Nestlers!" So he's
a
happy.
Change in tone there from Jay.
And he also says he always knew that Big Vern was Yorkshire at heart.
They are very parochial people, Yorkshire folk, as they like to be called, and the rest of the country just looks at them bemusedly at best.
So, Vernon, are you an honorary Yorkshireman?
I would have to say that. And if I maybe date back a little bit more, you would know that Montserrat, where my grandmother was born and my father was born, is almost formed as part of the British colony, the British Empire, England.
Joseph starts a new over, short ball, which Mahmood ducks underneath. So how did you cope with the weather in Yorkshire, coming from the West Indies?
Don't talk about that. Don't remind me.
and the food.
In fact, I can remember the first time that my first cricket game was a Caribbean Cricket club, and normally in the West Indies, when once rain comes, you go off the field, and everybody was like laughing at me, because the rain was coming down, and I was hustling to get off. They said, "No, we play here." I was like a rude awakening for me.
If you don't play through light rain in Yorkshire, you'll never play. That's probably. Yeah. Well,
but if you want to learn cricket, you have to go to England.
That first ball was called a wide, so we shall have another first ball of the over, and again Mahmood ducks underneath it. Let's see whether the umpire, that was a little bit lower, I don't think the umpire's going to call that a wide. And we also had some fiddling with the batsman's gloves, but as Gary Naylor would say, there's no one like cricketers for wasting time. They're world experts at it, and they can do it under any conditions.
Even one of the West Indians got involved in that. And was
I know. Instead of waiting for a teammate to come out of the pavilion jogging with a new set of gloves, then a fielder went and helped him. Did that ball hit the arm guard?
Yeah, I think it did.
Yeah.
He just glanced it. It was a glancing blow.
Just glanced.
It's Mahmood. Well, if you're going to score runs, you're going to be treated like a batsman, and they're going to start bouncing you. So
He
you
was the
may
top
be
scorer
wondering
in
whether
England's
that was
first
wise. Joseph, with the close fielders hovering, bowls, and this is driven. Again, not much foot movement from Mahmood, but he got the middle of the bat on it. It does go straight to short extra cover on the bounce. No run.
They want another jug off him.
Another jug avoidance jug.
I think a lot of things have gone noticed. I was on a spot on commentary yesterday, but Joseph has picked up 50 Test wickets now. So the wicket of Johnny Bairstow yesterday was a real major milestone for Zari Joseph.
As Joseph's in again, and this is where's this gone? He tries to pull this down the leg side, and I think he's got a top edge, and it's found its way down to third man. Fielders were looking up in the air and wondering where it had gone, but he gets another single. Does Mahmood? Takes him to 219 for 9. He tried to work into the leg side, and it's gone just over the gully fielder and down to third man. I don't think he had any idea where that was.
That's that technique you were talking about, Vern. You know, completely confuse the opposition.
Well, keep them guessing, I think, is the name of that technique.
Oh yes,
And yourself.
You know, if you look at Leach almost sometimes it looks like Alex Lees, just the way how he just frustrates you.
As this is a fuller ball on off stump from Joseph, and Leach, as he does, defends it well.
I mean, I know his sort of his stats aren't there, but you watch Leach and you think, he's a batsman. He's a competent batsman.
Well, I think at best you'd say he could hold an end up, which has value down the order. It has tremendous value if you've got somebody at the other end who's as we saw in Headingley 2019 when he put on, how many was it with Ben Stokes, by not getting out, one not out, his best Test innings by a long way, as Joseph is into him again, and again he defends, gets everything behind it, and plays it up to mid-off.
One of the best ones ever.
You know, in batting, the key is, and I've kind of looked at some of the England batters, and I find that they're batting more or less middle off, and to me they're ending up in problems, more or less. If you look at Leach, you can see Leach is batting middle and leg, and his first trigger movement is, he's staying as low as possible to be able to keep his eye on the ball at all times.
But he does take a step onto his off stump just as the bowler's in his delivery strides. This is a shorter ball, and it's well played down by Leach onto the ground and to short legs. 64 overs have gone, 119 for 9. Nestlers are people driving us mad with messages.
No, but Jay is saying to me, "Don't push it, Sean. We gave the world puddings."
I think citation required. For,
just going back to England's batting, Vern maybe, and not Fred. Sometimes it seems there's a concentration problem as well in shot selection. I mean, some of the when you watch it recently, you just think, what are you doing? Why?
Well, yes, that's often sort of post facto analysis. I'm not having a go at you, Nestlers, but when they play a shot which goes for 4, people don't tend to, as Roach starts a new over, and this is pulled or helped on its way by Mahmood down to long leg for a single. When they play an unlikely shot which goes for 4, or an expansive shot which goes for 4, you don't hear commentators and pundits saying he shouldn't be playing that shot because it's gone for 4.
No, but sometimes, given the context of the innings where they are, maybe 2 down with sort of 50 on the board, you almost want Leach there.
Well, yes, but on the other hand, on a wicket where deliveries which have your name on it are just around the corner, you do have to score runs, because if you just play to bat time and not score any runs, then eventually you're going to get an unplayable delivery, and all you did is you've been in for an hour and a half for 10 runs and you haven't actually advanced your team's position very much. As Roach bowls again full, and there's a drive by Leach. They're going up for caught behind, and Joel Wilson is unimpressed, which probably means he touched it, and they are going to review it. So the
Joss is 100% convinced.
Well, he drove at one outside the off stump. The fielders went up, the bowler went up, and Joel Wilson, who's not had a great test match, not had a great series to be honest, has given it not out, but that doesn't mean all that much. Now let's see what DRS has to say. Oh no, I think he may have missed that. On first view, it's close to the outside edge, but I would like to see the side on view, and we are going to see a snicko at some point. Let's see what Ultra Edge has to say. Oh, there's a big yeah. There is a nick. I missed it. Joel Wilson missed it. Not for the first time, and we're going to see the familiar pose of Joel Wilson's hands touching his shoulders, reversing his decision, and giving England's last man out. Leach has gone, caught De Silva, bowled Roach for 4. England are all out for 120. The lead is only 27, and this match is going to be over very quickly. No jingles because the bear's disappeared.
Bear is gone for ages. Where is the bear? Bear, where are you?
I think he went to get a beer. So what I can do in the meantime, is
from the
maybe just give the guys, the folks who have maybe just tuned in to Platinum FM 97.9 and Radio Jamaica and Wave FM in St. Lucia, and the folks on the West Indies Cricket 2020 and beyond, and GorillaCricket.com, an idea in terms of what has happened for the morning. So England have been bowled out on the 4th morning of this 3rd Apex Test Series, which started in Antigua and Barbuda, went to the Republic of Barbados, and is now in what we will consider to be Jab country in Grenada. England bowled out for 120. It now means that the West Indies will need 27 runs for victory. Just to give you an idea in terms of the scorecard, Alex Lees bowled Kyle Mayers for 31, top score for the England innings. Zach Crowley caught Jason Holder bowled the man himself, Jason Seals, for 8. Joe Root, the England captain, he was caught by John Campbell, bowled Kyle Mayers for 5. Dan Lawrence was bowled Kyle Mayers without scoring. Ben Stokes was caught Shamar Brooks, bowled Kyle Mayers for 4. Johnny Bairstow was caught wicketkeeper Joshua De Silva, bowled Alzari Joseph for 22, giving him his 50th test wicket. Then Ben Folks, misjudgment, thought he felt that Kyle Mayers' arm was not good enough, took it on, and the golden boy had one right over to the top of the stump. Joshua De Silva completed the run out. He was run out for 2. Chris Wokes was caught this morning brilliantly by Jason Holder in leg slip position, bowled Kemar Roach for 19. Craig Overton was caught Holder, bowled Kyle Mayers for 1. And Jack Leach just out, caught wicketkeeper Joshua De Silva, who's having an excellent game and could be the man of the match of this game, for 4. Mahmood was left not out on 3. The bowling figures for the West Indies: Kemar Roach, 9.2 overs, 4 maidens, 10 runs, 2 wickets. Jaden Seals, 12 overs, 2 maidens, 26 runs, 1 wicket. He ended the series with 11 wickets. Kyle Mayers, the golden boy, you have to call him the golden boy, and I've been asking for him. I thought it was unfairly that he was dropped from this West Indies test team based on his performance. Before this test match, he would have scored 645 runs with 13 wickets. Kyle Mayers, 17 overs, 9 maidens, 18 runs, 5 wickets, giving him a match haul of 7 wickets to complement all of that hard work. Jason Holder, who is, in my estimation, below par in this test series, 8 overs, 5 maidens, 6 runs, no wickets, is consistently bowled well, but has not picked up the wickets. Alzari Joseph, 16 overs, 3 maidens, 38 runs, 1 wicket. He's bowled the fastest out of all of the West Indian fast bowlers. And Jermaine Blackwood, the vice captain, 2 overs, 1 maiden, 2 runs, no wicket. That's the stats in terms of the second innings for the summary here. And just to give you an idea in terms of what happened, England in their first innings, they were bowled out for 204, 120 in the second innings, and it now means that West Indies, they scored 297 and they will need 27 runs to complete another series victory in the Caribbean.
Thank you very much, Vernon. We're going to have obviously a 10-minute break between the innings. We've had about 3 or 4 minutes of those already, and we're due a change now.
We are.
I think it's a 3-person change, so all of us are leaving. Some new people are coming on. I'm not entirely sure who, but enjoy their company.
I'm one of them.
Brian has appeared, and I'll leave it in your capable hands.
Well, thank you. Well, I've been.
It's
left
all
with
you,
Vernon.
Brian.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, Annie. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
How are you?
I'm well. How you doing, Vernon? Since you're still here.
It's great to be linking up with you, and I know it's only a matter of time now before England captain Joe Root will announce his retirement as England's Test captain.
And it won't be a shock.
It won't be a shock.
No.
Whoa. Sorry.
We've got a small child as well.
A small child who has come over. She is very interested in what I am doing. I know that this is Hazel, by the way, for those of you who haven't met her. I want to pick your brain about something. Let's get caught up really, really quickly. I know he said that Warren was next about Root, but I don't see anything. So we'll start with Warren saying morning all. Jay Grover saying, oh, Rooster, which I've had to edit because we're on all sorts of radio. I'm putting my county cricket schedule poster up for hopes of a better time. I don't know what she's pointing at. Jay Grover saying, always knew Big Vern were Yorkshire at heart. Also saying, don't push it, Sean, we gave the world puddings. I tweeted, why does Joel Wilson? Joseph Mordecai Coleman wanting to know, in response to that, wanting to know how does he remain in the elite umpiring panel. Warren wants to know, here it is, over under on how long Root gets the boot. Jay Grover saying, bother, but I might have to go to work this afternoon. And Jay Grover saying, hooray, Brian. I am trying desperately to make sure that she isn't touching the keyboard in the process, so we'll see how that goes. Vernon, I'm from the States, as you can probably tell. I'm interested as to your interest as we're trying to get T20 started here, and we've got Major League Cricket starting up next year. I wonder if you've paid any sort of attention to what's going on stateside.
Well, I need you maybe to tell me a little bit about the politics in the United States cricket, because I know that the election was due, but there's been some discrepancies in terms of the voting process and going forward, and so that seems to, I know a colleague of mine who's in the media did some work and had a story out on the situation. So it's pretty tough, but I've been following USA cricket, which is closer to the Caribbean, and it looked like T20 is the way to go now all over the world for cricket.
Well, I know that we're going to be co-hosting the T20 World Cup in 2024, and they are going to be building. They've got Major League Cricket, which is going to be our version of the CPL and the IPL and all that other stuff. They're going to be, all the stadia should be done, if not next year, then by the World Cup. I know there has been a lot of upheaval, and I haven't paid too much attention to the political side of things as much. But I'd tell you that that it is interesting to kind of see it all starting to congeal a little bit. The fact that they've got a 27, at least it was 27 clubs last year, undercard competition in minor league cricket coming together is pretty good. It'll be interesting to see as well where it does take off. The only full-on cricket ground at the moment is in Florida, which isn't terribly far, obviously, from the West Indies, and has a pretty decent West Indian population. The problem is that if you're from outside of Florida, it's really hard to get there. So building more grounds in places like Dallas and I know in California, Northern California, and Seattle, I think is going to help that a little bit and help that grow. I apologize for I guess sidetracking all of this, but I have somebody, to have somebody who is involved with the West Indies to kind of get it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
Well, it's a pretty interesting conversation that I think I can have, and so I know the Bear will certainly give you my details. But I just want to also applaud the 4 semi-final teams in the ICC Women's World Cup, which has been very, very, very competitive. England, and I think this would all go well for women's sports and cricket, especially in England,
Yes.
who defeated Bangladesh by 100 runs. So they notch up their stuff. They will take on South Africa on Thursday, and on Wednesday, the West Indies, the women's team under Sir Courtney Walsh, they will take on Australia. So I think the women's program, this is a good boost for them to get to the semi-final of the Women's World Cup. And it might be the last for the captain Stephanie Taylor, but some new stars coming through, which will be a good boost. And I hope that the authorities for West Indies will not pay lip service to the women's
I
team.
think you're right, and I also think that West Indies are probably the only team that could beat Australia with a bit of a wild card there.
I think everybody's expecting Australia. I mean, Australia is to women's cricket what I think New Zealand is to rugby. I think it's just they're far ahead. They're competitive with everybody else, and everybody's competitive with them. But the amount of talent that they've had and the pathways that they've had, and let me tell you, they just have a lot of good young players coming up the pipeline. So it's not like it's going to settle down at any point. It's just going to be a matter of how well these other teams are going to be able to develop their younger players to where they are at the same level that Australia is. And I'll tell you, it's not just they're good players; they're also other ones. Bear's making a signal, so I think we're going to get started.
I think he's going to do a jingle.
Yes.
He's a determined fella, and I just gotta tell you, he could bet on endlessly. All those balls faced by a Craigie Brathwaite, you know he can bat eternally.
And Vernon, you're ball by ball.
Yeah, you have the honors, mate.
All right, so we back with the important test match. It's day 4 of the third Apex Test Series. West Indies on the verge of winning the series, but they first have to get 27 runs over the hump. Here comes Wokes. Chris Wokes was at a poor tour. He's into ball to the West Indies captain Craig Brathwaite. He gets an outswinger and sort of fishes at it. It's a new ball. 28 is the target.
Wokes had one good spell, didn't he?
Yeah, I think you're right, Annie. One good spell deserves another. Might be his last spell for England.
I think that's I was going to say, I think that's the slogan of this National Spelling Bee.
What, one good spell?
Yeah.
Here is Brathwaite off the mark and turning this down to Jack Leach and picking up the West Indies' first run. They will need 27 more runs. And this is going to be a special moment for the folks on a Mothering Sunday in England, that the West Indies are defeating England for another time. We can't match up to all of the stories that would have happened before. Campbell, who is playing in his 18th test match, his best of 68, 746 runs, with an average of 23.31. There's question marks about him retaining his spot as an opener.
He's not had a great series, has he?
I don't think he's had a good test career either. He stands up straight up, punches one up to the outside to Ben Stokes. But I'm going to bowl you an off break, Annie and Brian. I think that the West Indies need to seriously start looking at Raymond Reefer, who scored 100 in the practice game against England at the warm-up at the Coolidge Cricket Ground. I think he would.
You've been following him, have you?
Yes, I've been pretty much impressed with his work ethic. And maybe the time has come where the West Indian selectors have to start thinking outside of the box.
Well, definitely.
Walks around the wicket, the ball to John Campbell, ball to Campbell. Campbell is backing across and turning this, but can't beat the fielder short mid-wicket area. I just think that Campbell ends up in a square arm position every time he plays the ball and does not stay side on to the ball.
He's not very balanced, is he, in his playing? Seems to overbalance quite a bit.
Sometimes doesn't even know where he's off stump is. Guilty of that all the time.
Vernon, what do you think are the positives from the Windies? Oh, obviously the win would be a positive, but what would they take away from this series?
Here is delivery worked onto the leg side, and Campbell is off the mark, so both batters are off the mark. I think straight away you will have to. Joshua De Silva is on the top of the list. He would be my man of the series for the West Indies. Secondly, Carl Mayers has shown that despite all of the odds, he got dropped. He went into the nets. He worked hard. He grabbed his opportunity, and he came back, and he's made a statement. We'll come back to that as Wokes is in now to bowl to Brathwaite. Brathwaite is on driving.
Brathwaite?
Sorry.
Brathwaite must be a positive too.
Well, he's settled into the role nicely as captain.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not. Back in this series, he's demonstrated that he's comfortable with the leadership. I think there would have been a transition period from a Jason Holder to a Craig Brathwaite. And during that period of time, there was some talk that you looked at maybe sometime Jason Holder and you felt that he maybe felt a little aggrieved in the way he was more or less not giving back the captaincy. And I think that was playing with his mind. But I think Brathwaite, you could know Brathwaite is more balanced, he's more positive. You saw in his stroke play. And I think that's one for the future. We just need to find a partner who's going to go along with him at the top of the order.
Yeah, but he's also completely shown he can occupy the crease, and the Windies can do that.
Yeah, he always does that, Annie and Brian.
that's for sure.
we don't need to ask for occupation from Craig Brathwaite.
He's moved in.
Here is a delivery from Mahmood, who I've been impressed with for England, and I would have really loved to have seen a Matthew Fisher in this test match also. Campbell pulling away this one down to the leg side area, picking up his second run.
I agree. I'd like to see him Fisher.
To win. I like Fisher. I like what I saw in the first. I was never impressed with Overton. I thought he looked very ordinary.
Yeah, I mean he's a good county player. He plays well at Somerset. But no, I agree. I don't find him a county player. How about you, Brian?
No, I think he definitely has an opportunity, and be interesting to see how it develops.
Here is a good delivery by Mahmood. But my main concern, Brian and Annie, is when you see players emerging, and it's not only about West Indies or England or around the world. It's the matter of investing in those players. I like Mahmood, and I hope when they get back to England that somebody would not change his action or change his style, and then all of a sudden, we just don't hear about Mahmood again. But I like his approach.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's not broke, don't fix it. I think go ahead.
Here is another delivery by Mahmood. Just for a moment, he was thinking about going up for LBW decision, but I think Brathwaite missed that completely. Joe Root is maybe not interested in thinking about anything else. He looks like he is more concerned about the game coming to an end.
I think they're going to look at something. I think the umpire just made one of these.
Review simple, didn't they?
Said it was a leg by.
He signalled leg by, and then he signalled going up.
Review.
Yeah.
Because everybody's now looking. Yeah, here it is.
And I think that would have been.
No, that's missing leg.
Yeah, but even if we look at Folks, you could see Folks' left foot already moving, going, and the back face being played to square leg, and that to me, if my eyes are good, that would have been pitching outside leg stump.
Yes.
Or just about, and going down. So review again lost by England.
I presume they're reviewing because there's so few runs to get. They might as well.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get Specsavers coupons for them. You may as well.
The umpire wanted to prove that he actually can make a good decision as well.
See, I'm not as bad as you think I am on Twitter.
No, I never said that at all.
I know you're not. I know from the peanut gallery of which I am a part.
But again, Annie and Brian, one of the questions which you also have to ask. Let's look at this England bowling attack. Have they bowled well on this track?
Yeah.
Because You have to bowl as straight as possible. And you see Mahmood coming and doing all sorts of stuff there. You got a new ball in your hand very early. You got to bowl on this wicket. You saw what Kyle Mayers did. You got to bowl that 2 meter quad length.
They didn't bowl straight yesterday, did they?
I think
Mahmood started and had to stop.
Sorry, Vernon. I think it's all about moral victories at this point. I mean, if they lose by 10 wickets, then yeah, it's a complete and utter moral defeat. If they end up losing by 6 or 7, then it's a different story because at least it's been a fighting defensive innings.
Here is Mahmood having Campbell being squared up, and like I said to you, Annie, every time you see Campbell, his left shoulder comes right around, which is almost like an inviting gap for the slips when you're in the area that I do.
Who's coached him to do that? That is a very strange thing to do, isn't it?
Well, let me say something to you, Annie.
Yeah, go on.
If you're not willing to adopt your game, you're going to find yourself in problems. I'll explain a little bit more after this delivery, as Mahmood comes in now to bowl to Campbell. Campbell is flashing hard down to the backward point boundary for 4. Wide ball, and yes, he's going to put that away on any given day. It goes to 6. The score goes to 8 without loss.
Let me get caught up on social media real quick if I could here, Vernon. O'Neill Harris says, big up Life of Brian. Hello, O'Neill. Katie says hi to Hazel. She's over watching Sesame Street at the moment. Madan Moham Sharma says, hello, Gorilla Cricket. Now it is obvious this test will finish within an hour. Then for the next 2 hours, why don't you broadcast IPL? No. Bear shaking his head. That's okay. On Wednesdays, we'll be doing an IPL
Wednesday's
show.
IPL day, isn't it?
Yep. And then Messi Jez really quickly saying, extraordinary debut series. Saqib Mahmood has topped both the batting and bowling averages for England for the series. His batting average is 52. His bowling average as of 15 minutes ago was 20.66. Back to you, Vernon.
Here comes Wokes as he comes in now to bowl to the West Indies captain Craig Batt. They're just working this into the leg side area for a couple of runs. We're going to get 2. Battert in the meantime is contented to just pick 2 runs up. He goes to 3. West Indies need 18 more runs to win. The score is 10 without loss. And Battert the series 55-33, 160, 56, 17, and 3 2.5 centuries and a big century at his home ground in Bridgetown, Barbados, in front of his mother, who's looked at him for the first time play cricket on this Mothering Sunday. Here is another lovely outswinger. Battert was neither forward nor back. Had a little stint, Annie and Brian, in the English county circuit last season. So that I think would have been good for him, Craig Battert.
Of course it will be.
Yeah.
It'd be perfect for him. It should happen much more.
You're talking, by the way, Vernon. Obviously, we know Annie's credentials, but I'm a big fan of. It's something to listen to at work, so I listen to the county championship with pretty good frequency.
It's a joy to listen to at work,
yes.
isn't it?
It really is.
Here is the delivery, worked into the square leg area, but it won't have the legs to go into the boundary because Jack Leach comes around. Pretty. A little strange. He bowls left arm, but he also controls both hands, his left and his right hand. The fans are excited at the National Cricket Stadium in Grenada.
Yep. Not far to go.
Nope.
I want to ask you, Vernon, when I was in Barbados in 2019, Hetmeyer was just sort of playing very well and looking quite like he was going to do quite well in Red Bull. What happened to him?
I'll come back to that in a little while, Annie, after this delivery. I think 12 without loss as I speak. Battert is 5, Campbell is 6, and West Indies need 16 more runs to win. Annie, we have to be careful in terms of how we determine who is a white ball cricketer and who is a red ball cricketer. I think we have to put everybody in the same bracket. And when I say that, we have to be able to say that everybody is a cricketer. I know we got central contracts for white ball and we have central contracts for red ball cricketers. Another delivery here by Battert being defended. But we have to be very careful.
I'd like to see him in the test team, though, and I thought he had quite a lot of talent.
I certainly don't think the handling, I don't think the way how West Indies handled Shimon Hetmeyer was also a reason why he was maybe not even in the test team in terms of when he got in, where they batted him. And I made the point yesterday, if you look at the West Indies team, you would see that it's like they wanted everybody to bat like Shivner and Chanderpaul. Here is Bartlett punching out to into the offside, and picking up a very easy single. Score goes up to 13 without loss. Both batsmen are on 6. West Indies need 15 more runs to win. I know Brian is going to get in very quickly.
Yeah, Brian better get in with some tweets.
Yeah, Leia saying, "Hooray, your daughter is adorable. Give her my best." Your best what? Is what I want to know. Andrew Veer, thanks for the coverage and company. Guerrilla Cricket, wish it had continued for longer as my case of COVID posted longer than the test did. Get well soon. Welcome to the COVID Club. Jeff Perkins replying to Warren, if they can adjust England's schedule to take account the 6-month IPL window. Of course, the Windies thought touring England in May was bad. Wait till they see what January is like. And Jay saying, my beard up. Go ahead. I'll finish in a second.
There is another delivery being worked into the leg side area for Mahmood. Will it have the legs to go into the boundary? It does. So can the Bear find a jingle for me? 17 without loss.
1, 2, 3, 4.
4.
So Craig Brathwaite
dealing in boundaries.
Needing to get this over and done with before lunch. It's 11:20 in Eastern Caribbean, 10:20 in Jamaica, on Wager Jamaica. Mahmood comes in out the ball to Brathwaite. Brathwaite is opening the face of the bat, driving and looking to pick up another boundary. Another boundary here again to Brathwaite. So Mahmood.
It's me, Sanshi. It's me, Sanshi.
I think Brathwaite's looking to improve his strike rate, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, he's certainly on top of this one, picking up his second boundary in this over. And the score shots up to 21 without loss. West Indies need 7 more runs to defeat England in this jab test match, which is being played in Grenada. After Antigua and Barbados, Brathwaite driving again up the mid-off. Can't score. The score remains on 21 without loss. He's 14. He's been the leading run scorer in this test series so far with 335 runs. Joe Root, the England captain, 289. Johnny Bairstow, 226. Dan Lawrence, 197. And Joshua De Silva with his maiden test 195 runs in this series so far. So Brathwaite is in contention for the man of the series.
Yeah.
Here comes Mahmood, who comes in now to bowl to Brathwaite. Naughty shot by him. He'll be very disappointed. This is not his style. But I guess when the blood is running, then you sort of just go for everything. Like Mahmood. I really like Mahmood. He sort of reminded me of Ali Khan, a United States young fast bowler. Has that sort of approach and energy. He brings that passion to the game.
He's
Ali
fun
Khan
to watch.
He is. Plays for the Tika Knight Riders in the CPL. Love his spirit, love his attitude. Ali Khan, 21 without loss. Mahmood comes in now to bowl to, again, Brathwaite. That one kept low. Folks has been brilliant in the series, Annie, as a keeper.
Well, I mean, he's always had class, hasn't he? And everyone was complaining that he was being kept out with the out of the side, but that I think there were reasons for that. In terms of he was unfit last season, but also Butler was kind of being trained as a vice captain.
7
we haven't got
to
one
win
now.
for the West Indies. Here comes Mahmood in now to bowl to Brathwaite. Brathwaite slashing this down to the backward point area. Over comes to an end. 4 of us bowled so far in day 4 of the morning session of this third Apex Test match, as Brian comes in with some tweets.
Jay saying Brian's beard just becomes more magnificent every time I've seen him. He is truly a god amongst men. I appreciate that.
It is class, Brian.
Well, I'm going to trim it a little later on today because I've gone a little bit too long, but it's still be pretty good. Rebel Scum says, is the Somerset game still on the tube, Annie? Otherwise, I'm going to have to go for a walk after this.
I think it will be.
Oh good Lord, says Jay Grover, Big Vern is going to be insufferable during this ball-by-ball, isn't he? No, he is, and I think he's doing a fantastic job. Farag wants to see Windies be sporting and score the runs in singles. Jay Grover saying, bowling coaches are like the horrendous Jobsworth middle management of the cricket world, messes people's life up to justify your position.
There is a delivery from Wokes, which just went down the onside, escaped folks. We were just talking about his keeping skills. I think the signal a bye, but it's possible. Both keepers have been very, very, very impressive. When we look at John Campbell's scores in this series so far, 35-22, 4-10, 35 and 6. Nothing to shout about. And I think the West Indies need to seriously start thinking about drafting 2 young openers. And I'm going to
How old is Campbell
in that conversation? Here is Batwit again,
there's 4
driving
more
to cover for 4 more. The fans are crazy in Grenada. 26 without loss. West Indies need 2 more runs. Brathwaite to 18. It now takes his tally of runs in this series to 339.
I'm loving the joy in the crowd. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Certainly. Don't think we have to miss that boundary jingle from the Bear.
Yeah, no, I heard it. It's hard to hear.
West Indies need 2 more runs, and the captain Craig Brathwaite is there. The last time he lost in Grenada, he scored a big 100, Craig Brathwaite. And this was in 2015. This time he'll be on the victorious side. In fact, Dinesh Ramdin was the captain of that test match, which was played in 2015. 2015.
Right, yeah.
2015 in Grenada. Dinesh Ramdin was the captain. In fact, Craig Brathwaite got a big 100 in the second innings. Joe Root also got a big 100 in that test match. So Jonathan Trott, who is doing commentary now, also played in that test match. So you would know how far back we've gone.
Doesn't feel very long, but it does as well.
Yeah, driving again. The big man Ben Stokes, who I personally feel, Annie, and I know there's been some reservations, maybe England need a radical to be their test captain, and if they do, I'm going to support Ben Stokes.
He doesn't want to be there, that's the thing. He actually...
Maybe we guys in the media, maybe is one of the reasons why maybe he doesn't want to take up that role.
Maybe. I think he's had a really rough time, and he's mentally he isn't at his best. I think maybe a year or so, maybe he might be a little bit more ready for it.
Wokes is in now to bowl to Brathwaite. Brathwaite is turning to the leg side area. Yes, victory to the West Indies.
Yes, well done.
There it is.
The West Indies have landed the 3rd Test Apex
They deserve that.
match.
Yeah.
They win by 10 wickets. What a moment on this Mothering Sunday in England. All the mothers in England will be celebrating. It's not Mother's Day in the Caribbean, but what a gift for the mothers in England, and the fans all over the world celebrate. West Indies win by 10 wickets over the mother colony, England.
England inventing sports that other countries are better at since the 17th century. Well done. I just want to interject very, very quickly before you go into your wrap up there, Vernon, and just I want to read out what Nessie said. Special thanks to the Bear and Tony for all they have done to get us on air. Made harder with the loss of Knackle. They've done all the hard work so we can all simply enjoy ourselves. Thank you, Bear and Bish. And I would extend as well Vernon, as well as the gentleman from Grenada, Stevenson, as well. And thank you for getting us on air in Antigua on Platinum 97.9 and across the Caribbean. I have some friends who are vacationing in the British Virgin Islands. I was trying to get them to tune in. Unfortunately, they're not near a radio. But this has been an absolutely wonderful series to listen to. And it has to say, I think this is a much-deserved win for the West Indies. They're going to need to turn it off and turn it back on again if this was a reset for England, I think. I don't think they played terribly in the first 2 tests. I think that the West Indies were the better side, but I think that this was much... I think this was coming. I think that England did not really get settled on this pitch, either with bat or ball, and the West Indies did, and that's been the difference.
It started with controversy, didn't it, with leaving Broad and Anderson out. It was never going to be a relaxing test match, and it certainly hasn't turned into a positive one.
Well, I think from a West Indian perspective, looking ahead, I think it's a good win for the West Indies team. It's always important to, especially to beat England, but more so in the way how the team really showed some mettle in terms of their batting on the flat pitches in Barbados and also in Antigua. There was some exposure also here in Grenada. I think something that they have to seriously look at. I, for one, feel that Cricket West Indies need to split the coaching roles. I can't see Phil Simmons having the white ball team and also the red ball team. So my view is that, we maybe need to get a coach for the white ball, and if Cricket West Indies is going to invest in Phil Simmons as the test team coach, that he just be given that role alone. But to have both, I think is a question mark. I think he should have been fired along with Kyron Pollard from the series, the T20 series. You can't go to the World Cup and win 1 out of 8 games and then still keep your job, but you fire the selectors in Miles Bascom and Roger Harper.
Selective firing.
Yeah, it's just absurd. And I thought that the coaching staff really should have been fired. And I still feel that West Indies need a new captain, especially at the white ball level, and maybe it's time to move on to Nicholas Pooran.
Well, that wouldn't be I think in a white ball game that would not be a bad idea at all. So I agree with you. Sorry, I've joined back in, and we are going to wrap up shortly. I do think you need to split coaching roles, and I think you need to decide who's I do think who's got a screen on somewhere. I
think it's Messy Jazz.
I can hear myself.
All right, damn it, Messi. There we go.
There we go. I think England need. I almost think you need to be more selective on who you have to have people who are going to be red ball cricketers and people who are going to be white ball. You have to decide that. The problem being that the people who see red ball cricket they may think they're losing out monetarily to white ball cricketers who get more opportunities, bigger money, and da 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 da.
We have to make it.
You have to make a sacrifice to be a red ball cricketer.
Yeah,
but there's more. I think there's more honour and more skill being, you're at the top of your game being a high class red ball cricketer, but you get better money being a white ball cricketer.
We have to look at the incentives to play red ball if we want it to actually make it survive. And
that's the thing.
I think that's really vital, because why would a young batsman come in and actually go and play red ball? Even if they want to, why would they? Yeah. Because the incentive isn't there.
It's almost like.
But Annie, I want to make also a critical point. If ICC, the governing body, is serious about Test cricket, you cannot have an ICC Test Championship and all of your countries are not involved in the ICC Test Championship.
I completely
To me,
agree
it
with
is
you.
not an ICC Test Championship.
Yep.
It's just almost a cover where you're just saying that you're having an ICC Test Championship. Afghanistan, Zimbabwe, those smaller countries who have ICC Test status, they have to be involved in the ICC Test Championship. It has to be equal across the board. When we look at FIFA World Football, every country who's part of FIFA, 223 to whatever the number is, gets an equal opportunity to be able to play in the championship.
No, I disagree with that part, Vernon, because especially there, if you see some of your compatriots in the Caribbean, they have to go through 5 or 6 rounds of qualifying, whereas the more powerful teams, and not only that, but it's not equal across. I see what you're saying. They all have an opportunity to qualify, and they are not hand selected. But I feel like that's a false equivalency, because all the teams in South America have 18 matches, whereas teams in CONCACAF and the Caribbean, their qualifying will last 2 games, and if they don't beat somebody in the first round, they're done after 2 games. I see.
But hear me out quickly, Brian.
Sure.
Hear me out quickly to the sharp point of this. In the Caribbean and in the CONCACAF region, I'm saying that you have priorities which you can concentrate on. So a small country like Montserrat or Antigua and Barbuda will maybe not qualify for the World Cup final, but you can qualify for a Youth World Cup, where there's under 20 So I'm saying that there's an opportunity provided for you, as compared to that's not the same case with cricket. Equally, everybody gets the same amount of money. That's what I was talking about.
What I was going to say, the money is distributed from FIFA, which it isn't at the ICC. But here you go, Vernon. This was my idea for World Cup. I'm going to pump it again. So you have 12 teams, and you could have, in England or in any country, you could have a summer devoted to a World Cup of Test cricket. It wouldn't be that hard. It would be a simple process where you'd have, maybe a 2-test series 1 month between, and 6 sides would all be playing at the same time. You'd have 6 games. You've got 12 test playing nations or whatever, and then that would, in the next month you would have the quarters. Then you could have a 2-test semi and then a 3-test final, all over the entire. I mean, because in the England summer period for the Test cricket is all the way from June through to the middle of September. If you were to do it that way, or you can actually build it into an actual being a competition rather than this hop together. Exactly as you say, no one plays the same team for the same amount of tests. So Zimbabwe probably play 4 tests and somehow they've got a accrue a win percentage of blah 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 to be able to top the championship. They don't have a clue.
I'm sorry, Bear. I think what you'll find as well, Vernon, and Bear, I think Guerrilla Cricket has kind of championed this, is that the ICC has a habit of prioritizing the teams that bring in the bigger countries.
Well, that's because but Brian,
how'd you get out of that circle?
It's not a board. It's not a board. It's a membership club.
Exactly.
It doesn't rule the game.
It's especially as somebody who
can't tell countries what to do.
A developing country in the sport, and I think it goes back to and I had mentioned this before, especially when we had Knackle in 2007. India and Pakistan and a number of other countries were upset that the tournament that they didn't get out of the first round, and that countries like Kenya and Ireland, who are less developed in terms of cricket, were able to make it, and But
that should happen in a champion. That's the whole point of having jeopardy.
Exactly.
If you don't have jeopardy, what's the bloody point?
And it's rolled down because again we have there's all these hoops and hurdles. We saw it with the T20. All these hoops and hurdles to get Namibia in, to get Scotland in, to get all these other countries. Whereas all of the test playing, your England, your Australia, they are just in there. There's no chance for them. It's an automatic path. So I'm not surprised at all of this. And unfortunately, you can't rely on the same 4, 5, 6 countries to carry it back, because otherwise
they don't.
Sport's going to wither and die.
Because that's the point, that they don't. Because India and Australia and England make the most money, and they keep the most money because it doesn't go to a central pot, and it's not distributed. There is no distribution of funds really from the ICC. They don't have the money. The money is held by the boards essentially. You pay a membership fee, which isn't enough.
But I also want to make a point here. To Brian, the Bear, and Annie. You only have to look at the ploy that is being employed now, where Cricket West Indies and United States of America will host the ICC T20 World Cup in the Caribbean, right? The ICC is adamant of moving now to the US. Now, you know why they're looking to move to the US,
because it's got a big market with loads of money.
So it's about economics and money, right? But will the Caribbean benefit from that? No. Again, that's what Brian was talking about, because in the just concluded ICC's America's T20 qualifiers, which were held in Antigua and Barbuda in 2021, a number of those countries that came to Antigua and Barbuda were bankrupt based on the funds to just have to come to participate in that tournament. You had like 20-something games which were played over a 6-day period, Annie. They had teams playing back-to-back matches in Antigua and Barbuda. I mean, that is
6 days. 6 days.
You know,
60.
So, how are you helping the game? Look at the women's game. Is ICC serious about helping the women's game throughout the world? Yeah.
and there's another example. The situation with the qualifier, where Thailand was in a very good position to qualify for that tournament, for that World Cup, and it got canceled because of the COVID situation in Zimbabwe. And instead of taking the standings as it was, they went back to past results, and Ireland, who would have missed the World Cup otherwise, made it in at the expense of Thailand. Now, what a boost that may have been, and I don't know what the situation is for following cricket in Thailand, but what a boost to that program. Thailand is not known for cricket. What a boost that would have been had they advanced, but instead,
and they're coming on leaps and bounds as well.
Exactly. I mean, the thinking of this. And I'm involved, and I won't get into too much to it. I'm involved with Australian football, and it's the same situation with them. There is this thinking. It's a tunnel vision thinking, and
it's all about the money, Brian, isn't it? You know.
Well,
it's always about the money.
It's always about the bloody money.
It's always about the money, but
but
the money's only going to get you so far.
Well, I mean, that's the interesting thing, isn't it? I mean, you look when all these sports were kind of semi-professional and people weren't getting paid much. The West Indies was the greatest team in the world. Everyone was at a level playing field, you know.
Yep.
And they could develop players because there was a pride in playing actually for the country and not just banking the money, you know.
Yep.
Although, to be fair, if you are a sports star, you should probably get paid a commensurate amount if you're doing that much for your country. In terms of soft power, sport is massive, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, look, we should wrap this up because
we should.
It's Mother's Day and my wife.
I'm delighted for the West Indies.
I am delighted for the West Indies.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me. The reset was absolute nonsense, and there you go. So
they might need to put another ticket in there, to use the IT parlance.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's what I was saying. They're pressing that button, and it's not working, man.
It's not working.
It's not working. It's the circuit's broken. Anyway, we're going to get off. I'm going to go back and see my wife and my children. And
I'm going to go hang out with my baby who's been clamoring to come.
There you go.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have Vernon on. Say, I was going to say, Vernon, we're saying goodbye now, and you just kind of walked out of shot. But it's time to go for us, Vernon. But thank you very much for having coming on and joining us and putting us out in the West Indies on the radio. It's been a great amount of fun, and we'll catch up and arrange what happens in the future.
Yep. And congratulations to the West Indies.
And very much congratulations to the West Indies. Can you hear me, Vernon? I'm not sure he can.
I don't think he can. I think he's got the audio back, but we're not sure. But thank you, by the way, and I'll say this on behalf of everybody, even though this is my only stint of this test series, and say if you've enjoyed, if you're listening to us in Antigua or across the Caribbean, GorillaCricket.com. Listen to whenever we're on, because we cover most of the England tournaments and test matches, etc. And you get to listen to a Yank like me chime in on it as well. So
you're trying to sell it, Brian.
Absolutely. Well, come on. I mean, it's nice to hear from different. Listen, I think the biggest benefit of all of this has been that folks like Messi and folks like myself and Vernon as well have been able to come on as well, which has been fantastic. And I'll probably talk to everybody this summer. I am going to be doing some work with minor league cricket this summer, at least writing and also doing commentary. So check that out.
Vernon, can you hear us? Hello, Vernon. He's having problems with his audio. We got to go. It's time to go. But I want Vernon to have a chance to say goodbye. He can't hear us. He's staring at his screen. Vernon, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Vernon? No, he can't.
He's gone. Oh well.
Yeah, right. Okay. That's really annoying. I could let David in. Do you think that's wise?
Let David in,
okay.
but I'm going.
We'll be here for another 2 hours. Well, I'm going to get going. I'll talk at everybody.
I'm going to.
All right. See you later, Brian.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye, guys.
David? Look, David's not even at his bloody camera either. Listen, boys. Annie's gone. I'm sitting here on my own. No one's coming back. This is a calamitous end. I'm going to play the theme tune and we're out of here. Messi, you're there. Messi, you're there. Come back, Messi. Is anyone going to join me?
Okay.
Plug your headset in.
Yeah.
Look, I'm giving these boys. This is a really haphazard end to a show, Messi. Everyone's threatening to turn up, but they're not. I need to get out of here.
I just want to say thanks to you, Bear, because I know you love doing this, but Jesus, we would never get anywhere without all the work that you do, and you sort of do it.
Bear is awesome.
Almost on automatic, but it's bloody fantastic. I love doing this. That's the thing. It's no work for me.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm I sort of facilitate people's whims and fancies, you know. But I do really enjoy it, and I get over that very quickly. It's usually when England do really badly.
Yeah, well, that most of the time, you mean?
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? It's more often than not.
I'm going.
Look, I just want to say one other thing. I know there's no more Test cricket till June, but it's important to remind people that Wednesdays are going to be IPL days. There may be a few extras as well, you never know. The Bishop and the Bear for Patreons is going to be on every week
and it's
with special guests. And I'll also be releasing more of the interviews with Gorillas over that period for Patreons. So it's a really good time to be a Patreon because you get lots of content.
Absolutely.
And it's as little as $2 a month. Go to the Gorilla Cricket site and click on the Patreon link, and you can get in and join us. And we need it to keep us going.
And yeah, so as we said earlier, this week's podcast, The Bear and the Bishop, is with Jack Hope, of course. And the fact that we've had to repress all our language in this. If you want to hear a Bear special, you might want to become a patron and listen, because I'll be letting rip there.
Because you like your cricket filthy, as the team drum says.
Exactly. Right, we're out of here.
Yeah, bye.
Okay, see you guys. See you there. See you, Annie.
Thanks, everyone.
Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla. Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time is come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than rev counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pascoe, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la